Hello and welcome to the Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, and it is time for some more Champions League talk, and particularly looking ahead to the round of 16 ties and potential opponents for FC Barcelona. Who are we going to face in the next round, and most importantly, who do we want to face in the next round? It's all coming up in this video. Let's do this. But first, if we just run ourselves through the final results from game week 6 in the Champions League Group C, which I have to say were very, very decisive in a number of the groups. You can see here, Schalke and Porto both winning and both progressing from their group, with Borussia Dortmund topping their group with a win over Monaco, and Atletico Madrid falling there to Club Brugge, failing to win and failing to top their group, which could prove to be very, very costly for Diego Simeone's men. But finishing second in their group does not mean that we can meet them in the next round, because teams from the same country and the same league cannot draw each other, so Atletico are not an option. We of course know that Inter failed to progress through no fault of our own. It was their own fault for failing to beat PSV Eindhoven at home in their final game, with Tottenham progressing, but another team that we cannot meet in the next stage due to the fact they are in our own group, and Paris Saint-Germain topping their group, with Liverpool just about holding on for a 1-0 win over Napoli, which saw them through. Then on the Wednesday, it was Roma's turn to bottle their chances of topping their group. Real Madrid suffered the biggest home defeat in Europe they ever have against CSKA Moscow. They still finished top though, because Roma did not beat Pilsen. Benfica won but did not progress because Ajax and Bayern were excellent. Ajax so unlucky not to end up topping that one. Man City beat Hoffenheim to top their group, with Shakhtar failing to beat Lyon, with Lyon progressing in that one. Valencia beat United, which blew their chances of finishing top of their group, even though Young Boys beat Juventus, with Cristiano Ronaldo surprisingly only scoring 1 goal in this Champions League group stage campaign. And with the group stage settled, we now know our potential opponents in the round of 16 stage, which I have to say, it really does look like a very, very exciting knockout round in store for us all. A lot of good teams in there, a lot of really interesting matchups, because up first, a potential clash with last year's Champions League finalists, Liverpool. That is on the cards right now. They finished second in Group C, 2 points behind PSG. They're the current Premier League leaders, and they are one of our potential opponents in the next round, and arguably, you would say, the trickiest team that we could face in the round of 16. Another possibility though are their Premier League rivals, Manchester United, who finished 2 points behind Juventus in Group H, and they're really, really struggling for form right now under Jose Mourinho, sitting 6th in the Premier League standings, and a lot of signs right throughout Manchester United of severe unrest throughout their team. They're lacking in confidence. There's a bit of fighting in camp as well. Could we see a repeat of the 2009 and 2011 Champions League finals in this round of 16? And if we do, we are going to be facing a very, very different United team to what we saw under Sir Alex Ferguson all those years ago. Another potential opponent are Group F runners-up Olympique Lyon, who finished 5 points behind Manchester City in the group stage, and that was despite actually remaining unbeaten against City over their 2 meetings. They won incredibly at the Etihad Stadium and drew 2-2 in their home clash against City, but the French side are currently 4th in Ligue 1, and their problem this season has been consistency. They've struggled for consistent results, they've struggled to consistently perform as they can, and they would be a mixed bag in the round of 16. Then there's Schalke, a team who finished behind FC Porto in Group D in a pretty favourable group all around, and for a team who are currently 13th in the Bundesliga, I think it's pretty right to say that Schalke would probably be the most favourable opposition out of all of our potential opponents in the next round. But as we've learned this season, you cannot take anyone lightly. If we end up drawing Schalke, we can't afford to write this off. We can't afford to think that we won this. We've got to apply ourselves, we've got to play the right way and remain focused at all times, no matter how big our lead is. Do not write anyone off in the Champions League this season. Another exciting prospect would be a glamour meeting against Ajax, which is always a really great occasion when Barcelona and Ajax come together to face each other, two sides who share so many of the same values right throughout their team, due of course to the influence over the years from Johan Cruyff on both teams. Ajax, I think, were extremely unlucky not to top Group E ahead of Bayern Munich. They matched them in every way. They went toe-to-toe with them. Very, very unlucky indeed. And they performed so well this year in their domestic league as well, with the likes of De Ligt, Frenkie de Jong in their side. And it would be really, really fascinating to come up against those kind of players against Ajax in the round of 16. And yes, I have saved the best until last, because the final team to mention is none other than AS Roma, who I think to many of us yes, we desperately want to draw in the round of 16 stage. They finished behind Real Madrid in Group G. Like I said, they had a great chance to go and top the group. They failed to do that. They bottled it when it really mattered. And they should have done better. Given Real Madrid's flaws this season, there's a lot of holes in Real Madrid. They didn't really do well when they came up against them. And I think the word revenge is on everybody's lips right now when it comes to Roma. Out of all the teams, Liverpool are exciting but a very dangerous opponent. Man United right now clearly struggling. Lyon, Schalke, Ajax, they're all teams that we go up against and certainly win. But I want Roma the most. It would put to bed some of those demons that are still lingering from last year's defeat. There's no doubt about that. A lot of us still think about that Roma game, and it would put down a marker very early on this competition that most importantly, we're learning. We're learning from our mistakes, we're moving forward, and we're improving. And we are going to stop at absolutely nothing. This time around, this year, this competition is what we desperately want. And boy, we're gonna get it. And in me saying that I desperately want Roma in the next round, that everybody wants revenge on them, you can see here, you guys are also of that same opinion. The vast majority of you want Roma in the next round. A lot of people wanting Liverpool as well, a lot of people also wanting Man United, and obviously some people wanting that easier type of draw, but so many people eager to draw Roma, eager for that revenge. We want them, we want to win, both legs, no question. And we want to progress this time round. And just to finish off this video, guys, I want to talk more about Ousmane Dembélé. Obviously very important, I think, to our Champions League success is having players in our team who are good going forward, that can score the goals to fire us to Champions League glory. And as we saw against Tottenham, Ousmane Dembélé is certainly one of those players, somebody who can appear in the big moments. We saw it last season when he scored against Chelsea. We've seen it this season in the group stage where he can score some incredible goals out of nothing. He can create those kind of moments that can lift you to glory, and he has to be in the team. But I want to talk about, obviously, the Spanish media have been going in on him. We've spoken about that in a lot of detail right here on the channel. They've talked about his lateness to training, his lack of attitude in the team, and the fact that maybe Barcelona want to sell him in the very near future. And all along, we've said, you know what, that's rubbish. Let Dembélé do what he does best, and that's out on the pitch. Do your talking out on the pitch. And I just want to come across Sport here, who basically said earlier on, of course, there were rumours about Ousmane Dembélé turning up to training 2 hours late, and there was a big media frenzy surrounding that until the game against Tottenham, when he scored, and suddenly they had nothing to say. And that is as simple as it gets. Sport now, since that game, they've come out again with Dembélé headlines, but good headlines about Dembélé being a good performer, a good player in the team. Sport say actually that Dembélé went in and apologised to the squad. They put a good spin on it. They said that he spoke with Valverde, and they actually said all is forgiven in the Barcelona team surrounding Ousmane Dembélé. Everything right now, they say, is absolutely fine. And that's what I'm saying. Good performances, when you go out on the pitch, when you perform, that will silence the press. If you play well, if you score the goals, they can't say anything about you. They can't put anything on you when you're doing that out on the field. And that's just proven with this sudden U-turn from Sport with regard to Ousmane Dembélé. But I just want to also add something from Robert Fernandez, who's the ex-sporting director of Barcelona. His contract expired in the summer. He was the man who actually brought Ousmane Dembélé to Barcelona. And they actually spoke with Robert Fernandez in a very detailed interview in the Spanish media, and Robert Fernandez said the following. He said it's not unusual for players to be late to training. This is not just Dembélé, it happens right throughout the season, with all the games, with all the training sessions. You are going to have players who arrive late, and it's something that happens in every single club in the world. He said it's not unusual, but he said what worries me is how quickly the news is getting to the press. Almost immediately, if Dembélé is late, suddenly every single paper in the local media, they know about that. And Robert Fernandez said, I'd be very worried about where that's coming from. Is there somebody within the club who straight away are leaking that to the press? Are they trying to create a story around Dembélé? Are they trying to force him out? What is going on inside the club? And Rob Fernandez, like I say, said that it's not unusual to be late, but it is unusual for these stories to be reaching the media so quickly. And that's certainly something to bear in mind. And that does bring us to a close for today's news, guys. Just an overview there on the opponents that we could meet in the round of 16 stage. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you want to face in the round of 16? And what do you think on the latest Dembélé developments? Do you think that he needs to keep performing on the pitch to silence those doubters? And I fully believe that he will do that. Over the course of the season, come the end of it, there will be no more doubts surrounding Dembélé. And of course, guys, I will see you soon with more videos. Thank you, as always, for watching. But until next time, as always, Visca El Barça!